Hey friends, welcome back to VTC Garden Tips. I've been working on some really fun garden projects, and today I cannot wait to share them with you. They're cheap, easy, and honestly, they look way more expensive than they actually are. If you've been dreaming of giving your garden a little makeover this summer without spending too much money, you're in the right place. We'll transform simple dollar store items into gorgeous outdoor decor that will wow anyone who visits. And trust me, you don't need to be a pro to pull this off. I'll guide you step by step, just like we're doing it together in my backyard. Before we jump in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join our growing garden family here on YouTube, because every week I share new ideas, tips, and tricks that make gardening easier, cheaper, and so much more fun. Now, grab a cool drink, get comfy, and let's turn your garden into a summer paradise, starting right now. So let's kick things off with the very first DIY project for the garden. I found this super affordable planter at the dollar store. It was plain, honestly a little boring, but I saw potential. Instead of spending $20 or $30 on a fancy pot, I decided to upgrade this simple one with just a few tweaks. Trick is paint and texture. A quick coat of spray paint can instantly give a brand new life to any old container. I went for a soft stone gray shade because it blends beautifully with the greenery and makes the flowers pop. And here's a tip. If you want that high-end expensive look, always choose matte or stone finish spray paint. Glossy finishes can sometimes look a little cheap in the garden light. And because I can never stop at just paint, I added a little detail with rope wrapping around the top edge. Simple, right? But it instantly transformed the pot into something that looks like it came straight out of a designer catalog. Imagine filling it with bright petunias, trailing ivy, or even a mini tomato plant. You'd never guess it started as a dollar store item, and that's the magic I love about DIY gardening. Small effort, big impact. So if you've got old plastic pots lying around, don't toss them out. With a little creativity, you can give them a second life and make your garden feel brand new. For the next project, I grabbed something that was honestly just collecting dust in my garage, an old wire basket. It wasn't broken, but it looked tired and outdated. Instead of tossing it, I thought, why not give it a glamorous garden makeover? The first step was to line it with natural jute fabric. You can also use burlap, cocoa liners, or even scrap fabric if that's what you have at home. This not only makes the basket look rustic and cozy, but also helps hold soil and plants securely inside. I always say, gardening isn't just about plants. It's about textures, layers, and little details that make your space feel alive. Once the liner was in, I filled it with a mix of bright summer flowers. Think of petunias, marigolds, or trailing lobelia spilling over the sides. The wire basket instantly transformed into a charming hanging planter that looks like something from a boutique nursery. And the best part, I spent almost nothing because I repurposed something I already had. DIY doesn't always mean buying new supplies. Sometimes the best projects come from what's already lying around your home. So next time you're about to throw away an old container or basket, stop and ask yourself, could this become something beautiful for the garden? Chances are the answer is yes. All right, moving on to the third project, and this one is one of my absolute favorites. I picked up a few plain glass candle holders from the dollar store. They were simple, clear, nothing fancy, but I instantly knew they could become magical garden lanterns. The secret here is to create mood lighting. In the evening, a garden should feel cozy, warm, and a little bit enchanting. So I gave these glass holders a frosted look using spray paint made for glass. You can also use Epsom salt mixed with a bit of glue for a DIY frosted effect if you don't have spray paint. Once they were dry, I popped in some LED tea lights. Safer than candles, especially if you've got kids or pets running around the garden. And here's my little twist. I wrapped thin jute rope around the rim, then added small charms like little keys and beads to give it that boho handmade feel. When the sun goes down and the lights flicker, the whole space just transforms. Suddenly your garden feels like a little retreat, perfect for summer nights, barbecues, or just sitting outside with a glass of iced tea. And again, this project cost just a few dollars, but looks like something from a home decor store. It's proof that you don't need to spend big money to create an atmosphere full of charm and warmth in your backyard. For the fourth project, I wanted something functional but also stylish, a little garden side table. Now, instead of buying one, which can cost $50 or more, I decided to make one myself using simple dollar store items. The base is actually just a wire laundry basket flipped upside down. I know it sounds funny, but once you turn it over, it looks exactly like the frame of a chic outdoor table. Then for the top, I used a round wooden tray. You can also use an old cutting board or even repurpose a serving platter if you have one lying around. I spray painted the base matte black for that modern high-end look, and to make it sturdier, I attached the tray on top with strong adhesive. Easy, quick, and surprisingly durable. When it was finished, I placed it right next to my garden bench, added a vase with fresh flowers, and suddenly the space looked like a cozy outdoor cafe corner, perfect for holding drinks, snacks, or even a small plant arrangement. The best part? The whole project cost less than $10. It's proof that with a little creativity, you can add not just beauty, but also functionality to your garden without breaking the bank. For the fifth project, I wanted to make use of vertical space. Not everyone has a huge garden, so wall planters or hanging displays are such a smart way to add greenery without taking up floor space. I started with a simple cooling rack, yes, the kind you normally use in the kitchen for baking. With a little imagination, it can become the perfect frame for a vertical garden. I spray painted mine white to keep it fresh and clean looking, but you could also go with black for a modern vibe or gold for something more glamorous. Then I attached small metal hooks along the grid. These hooks are where you can hang mini pots, mason jars, or even tin cans that you've repurposed into planters. It's amazing how something so simple can look so artistic once you fill it with plants. I added trailing ivy, small succulents, and even a few herbs like basil and mint. Imagine walking up to your patio wall and being able to pluck fresh herbs right from your vertical garden. So practical and beautiful at the same time. And here's the fun part. You can switch things out with the seasons. Bright flowers in the summer, hardy greenery in the winter. Your wall display can always feel new and alive. For the sixth project, I wanted to add something that brings not just beauty, but also a calming atmosphere. So I decided to create a small tabletop fountain, yes, with items from the dollar store. Water features are often expensive. A store-bought fountain can easily cost over $100. But with just a bowl, a small pump, and a few decorative stones, you can make your own peaceful little water feature for a fraction of the price. I started with a ceramic bowl I found on sale. You could also use a wide planter or even an old mixing bowl. As long as it holds water, it works. Then I placed a tiny submersible pump inside. These are inexpensive online and they last a long time. I added smooth river rocks on top to hide the pump and give it a natural look. The sound of trickling water instantly made my garden corner feel like a spa retreat. Imagine sitting outside with a book, hearing the gentle water, and feeling all your stress melt away. The best part is you can customize it however you like. Add LED lights under the water for a magical glow at night, or tuck in a few succulents around the base for extra greenery. It's such a simple project, but it creates a huge impact on the atmosphere of your garden. For the 7th project, I wanted to add height and dimension to the garden. Flat spaces can sometimes look a little boring, so layering your plants vertically makes everything feel more lush and styled. I started with a couple of wooden crates, the kind you often see for storing fruits or bottles. These are inexpensive and easy to find. I stacked them in different directions, securing them with screws for extra stability. The result? A tiered shelf that looks rustic and charming, perfect for holding small potted plants. You don't even need brand new crates. Old ones with a bit of character actually look better. And if you don't have crates, you can repurpose wooden boxes, plastic bins, or even sturdy baskets. I filled mine with colorful flowers on the top, herbs like rosemary and thyme in the middle, and trailing plants like ivy on the bottom. This not only saves space, but also creates a beautiful cascading effect. Here's a little tip. Place the shelf near your seating area or entryway. It becomes an instant focal point that welcomes guests and makes your garden feel curated and cozy. For the 8th project, I wanted to create something that feels truly magical, a garden arch. Now, arches can be really expensive if you buy them from a garden center, but making a simple version is actually much easier than you think. I started with 2 tall trellis panels from the dollar store. By securing them together at the top with zip ties, they formed a sweet little archway that instantly added charm to the entrance of my garden path. It's lightweight, but once you anchor it in the soil or attach it to stakes, it becomes sturdy enough to hold climbing plants. For plants, I chose morning glories and sweet peas, fast-growing vines that will cover the arch in no time. But you could also use roses, jasmine, or even cucumbers if you want something edible and beautiful at the same time. Just picture walking through a tunnel of blooms with flowers cascading over your head and the fragrance filling the air. It transforms even the simplest backyard into something that feels like a secret garden. And the best part? It cost only a few dollars to make. A small investment for a big statement piece that adds romance, shade, and beauty to your outdoor space. For the 9th project, I wanted to create a cozy sitting area in the garden because let's be honest, what's the point of having a beautiful garden if you don't actually spend time enjoying it? Outdoor cushions and furniture can get really expensive, so instead of buying pricey seat pads, I made my own using weather-resistant fabric and cheap foam inserts. Even old bed pillows work perfectly, just cover them with fabric that can handle sun and a little moisture. To keep them practical, I stitched on simple ties so I could secure them to my garden chairs. No more cushions blowing away in the wind. Plus, it makes the whole setup look more put together. Once I placed the cushions on my wooden bench, added a soft throw blanket, and set a little tray with iced tea and cookies, suddenly my garden looked like a weekend retreat. It's amazing how a few soft touches can completely transform the way you use your outdoor space. And here's the bonus. You can swap out the covers whenever you like. Bright colors for summer, cozy textures for fall. It keeps your garden seating fresh and inviting all year round. For the 10th project, I wanted to add a little sparkle to the evenings, because nothing makes a garden feel more magical than twinkling fairy lights, right? Instead of buying expensive outdoor lighting, I picked up a set of solar-powered fairy lights. They charge during the day and automatically turn on at night, which means no messy wires or extra electricity bills. I always recommend solar lights for gardens. They're low maintenance and eco-friendly. To hang them, I use simple shepherd's hooks and a few tall stakes placed along the path. You could also string them across a fence, drape them around a tree, or even outline a seating area. The best part is, you don't need to be super precise. The slightly uneven, casual look makes it feel even more enchanting. Once the sun set, my backyard completely transformed. The gentle glow of the lights turned the space into a cozy retreat, perfect for late-night chats or even a little garden party. And honestly, fairy lights are one of the cheapest yet most effective ways to upgrade your outdoor space. A few dollars can create an atmosphere that feels priceless. For the 11th project, I wanted to upgrade the garden path. Because the walkway isn't just practical, it can completely change how your garden feels. Real stone pavers can be expensive, but I found a simple hack using dollar store supplies. I picked up concrete mix, a reusable plastic mold, and a little paint. With these, I made my own stepping stones that looked just like expensive natural stone. The process was easy. Pour the concrete into the mold, let it set, then pop it out. For extra charm, I pressed leaves and flowers into the surface before it dried, leaving a beautiful imprint. Once dry, I brushed on a bit of outdoor paint in earthy tones to give it that stone effect. When I laid them out across the garden path, it looked like something from a designer landscape magazine. And the best part? Each stone cost just a fraction of what you'd pay at a garden center. So if you've always dreamed of a stone walkway but didn't want the hefty price tag, this is such a fun and affordable way to get the look. For the 12th project, I wanted to grow more herbs, but without taking up too much space. So I made a little herb tower that's perfect for patios, balconies, or even small gardens. All I used were 3 plastic pots in different sizes. I stacked them on top of each other, largest at the bottom, smallest at the top, creating a tiered tower. To make it stable, I filled the bottom pot with a bit of gravel before adding soil. Then came the fun part, planting. I added basil and mint at the bottom, oregano and parsley in the middle, and a cute little rosemary on the top. The result was a compact, layered garden that not only looked adorable, but was super practical for cooking. Imagine stepping outside, picking fresh herbs right from your tower, and adding them straight into your dinner. Fresh flavors, 0 grocery trips, and a gorgeous piece of garden decor at the same time. And the best part is you can customize it however you want. Flowers, strawberries, even succulents. The tower design works for so many plants. It's one of those projects that's both beautiful and useful, which makes it a winner in my book. For the 13th project, I wanted something practical for entertaining in the garden. So I made a stylish serving tray that looks like it came straight out of a home decor store. I started with a simple wooden picture frame. By adding a flat piece of board at the back, it instantly became the base of a tray. I painted it with outdoor-friendly paint and sealed it with a clear coat to make it durable. For the handles, I actually used cabinet pulls, the kind you'd normally attach to drawers. They're cheap, easy to find, and they give the tray a polished, high-end look. Once it was finished, I set it on my garden table with a pitcher of lemonade, glasses, and a few cookies. It turned a simple moment into something that felt like a magazine photo shoot. and every guest who's seen it has been shocked when I tell them it was DIY. It's such a reminder that with a little creativity, you can elevate even the smallest details in your garden life. Sometimes it's not about spending money, but about seeing potential in everyday items. For the 14th project, I wanted to make the garden feel bigger and brighter. So I used an old mirror to create a decorative focal point. Mirrors aren't just for indoors. When placed outside, they reflect greenery and light, making small spaces feel twice as large. I picked up a cheap framed mirror and gave it a makeover with a coat of weather-resistant paint. For extra charm, I distressed the frame slightly to give it a vintage rustic feel. Then I mounted it on the garden fence, tucked behind some climbing plants. It almost looks like a window opening into another secret garden. The effect is stunning. Guests always do a double take when they see it because it tricks the eye into thinking the garden goes on forever. It's one of those small touches that instantly adds elegance and surprise. And here's the best part. It cost next to nothing. Just an old mirror, a little paint, and some creativity. Yet it completely transforms the atmosphere of the garden. For the 15th project, I wanted to add even more charm to the evening atmosphere. So I turned a few empty mason jars into hanging lanterns. Mason jars are perfect for DIY because they're cheap, sturdy, and easy to decorate. I wrapped some jute rope around the rims, creating simple handles for hanging. Then I filled them with LED candles. You could also use fairy lights for a sparkling effect. I hung them from tree branches at different heights, and when the lights came on at dusk, the whole area glowed with a soft, magical light. It felt like stepping into a storybook garden. The best part is that you can personalize each jar, add colored glass beads, sand, or even pressed flowers inside to make them unique. Every time I make these, I end up with a slightly different look, which keeps the garden fun and fresh. And honestly, this is one of the easiest projects in the whole list. It takes minutes to make, costs almost nothing, but the atmosphere it creates is absolutely priceless. For the 16th project, I wanted to show how you can turn everyday trash into something beautiful. So I used empty tin cans to make hanging planters. First, I cleaned the cans thoroughly and removed the labels. Then I painted them in soft pastel colors, pink, mint, and cream, to give them a cheerful, summery vibe. You could also go for metallic finishes like gold or copper for a more elegant look. To hang them, I drilled 2 small holes near the rim and threaded some jute rope through. Super easy, super quick. And honestly, once they're filled with plants, no one would ever guess they used to be soup cans. I planted trailing flowers like petunias and nasturtiums, which cascade beautifully over the sides. When hung together in a cluster, they look like a designer hanging garden, but cost almost nothing to make. This is one of my favorite kinds of DIY. It saves money, reduces waste, and adds instant charm to your garden. A perfect mix of creativity and sustainability. And that's it, friends. 17 easy and affordable DIYs that turned my garden into a little paradise without breaking the bank. From planters to lights to cozy seating, every project added a touch of magic and personality to the space. What I love most is that these projects prove you don't need a huge budget to have a beautiful garden. With a little creativity and a willingness to try, you can transform even the simplest backyard into something that feels special. And remember, DIY doesn't have to be perfect. Sometimes the charm is in those little imperfections. They make the project feel handmade, personal, and full of character. So if you're inspired, I'd love for you to try one of these ideas and share it with me. Which project was your favorite? The lanterns, the herb tower, or maybe the mini fountain? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single one. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join our growing family here on VTC Garden Tips. I share new garden ideas, tips, and tricks every week. to help you make your outdoor space more beautiful, functional, and joyful. Until next time, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you out in the garden.